Hi and welcome to this demonstration. My name is Björn, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the last steps of configuring the SharePoint development environment. These videos are part of a series that I'm making for the Understanding SharePoint Journal, issue number 5, which will be titled Beginning SharePoint Development. So if you want to be notified when that issue releases, you should sign up to the mailing list, which is available on understandingsharepoint.com/journal. So with that little advertising out of the way, in this video, what I'm going to show you is basically how to set up search on your new SharePoint development environment. We also need to configure the existing web application to connect to that search service once we set it up. And if you remember from the last video, what we've done so far is basically set up SharePoint, and we created the first web application, but we didn't find any search server that we could be using. So the first step here is basically to go and start configuring the search service. You have two options for getting to the search service. Either you can go to the front page of the central administration, and you can click on the server where you want the service to run, or you can also go to the operations pane and you'll find the services here. As you can see here, we have the Windows SharePoint Services search it's not been started yet. And it's required on the farm to actually search through the content we have here. So if you click on Start now, we'll be asked to enter information here about the user for the service account and also the content access account. And I'm going to fail on this on purpose actually the first time, and basically just to show you one of the common errors that people experience when they're configuring the search service. But for now, however, I'll just explain everything to you. The service account is the account that will be used by the Windows service that runs SharePoint Services Search. So this account will be given permissions to actually run the Windows SharePoint Services Search service. And we created an account called SP-admin in the previous one of the previous videos. So we'll just enter the password here like this. I'll have to re-enter it because my fingers are fumbling. And then we have the content access account, and the content access account is basically the account that will be used to index or crawl through all the content here, and that account will be given full read access to all the content of your SharePoint sites, and that might sound a bit scary from a security perspective, but you should notice that this is not the account that users will run or use to access content. Is only used by the search service to actually index all the content regardless of what the user permissions are. So the user permissions still apply, they'll still be verified, and if a user doesn't have access to a particular document or an item, they won't have access through that through search either. So this is basically just to make sure that you have one account that has access to all the content for indexing purposes. This is not for access really, especially not for users access. So we'll just enter the password here. And then we're basically we don't need to actually do anything else. Here you might set the database name. You might want to change some settings here, but you don't need that for a lab environment. You might also set the indexing schedule, whether you want to run it every few minutes or once an hour or once every day, depending on your indexing needs. In a lab environment, it's not really that important. So we'll hit start now, and as you can see here, you actually get a problem here. It says just SP search and SP admin, and sadly that's one of the issues with SharePoint. You don't always get the best of error messages. So and in our case, the problem, I actually just made this or had this problem myself, which is why I remember that you need to fix this. And the problem here is basically how we enter the username here. So if you go back into the configuration here, you'll see that we have SP-admin, but this is an account which will be used to run the Windows service. So basically you need to also enter the machine name in front of the username here. So we'll just enter uspjlab-01 and SP-admin, and then we'll enter the passwords again. We'll do the same for the content access account. Like this, we'll use uspjlab-01 and password for that, and then we'll just hit start again. As you can see now in a moment, we'll basically just everything should work at least, and Of course, the demo god might not be with us. Well, they are today, so everything now works. So that's basically how you set up the SharePoint services search. However, there's still one thing we need to do, and that's to set up the existing sites to actually have the search enabled for them. And then the logical thing would be to go into SharePoint Web Application Management, and you'll probably set something like the general settings, and then you'll find the search services here, because, well, that's how we set up search the first time, but there's nothing here that actually allows you to set up any search here. And the trick behind this is basically that search isn't connected to the web application itself. It's connected to the content database that the web application uses. So in order to connect search to the current web application or to this web application, we'll need to go into the content databases, and then we'll check the database name, which we're going to use. And of course, if you have several web applications, you'll find them listed here, so you can go in here and you can change the web application to find the correct database. Once we click the database name that we'll be using here, you'll see now at the bottom you'll find the Windows Search Services search server that you can use for searching. So we'll just select this one now, and then we'll scroll down to the bottom. Then we'll hit OK. And this is basically how you set up the SharePoint sites to have searching enabled if you need to set up search after you created your first applications. And of course, you can also use this method to if you change the search server, if you install a dedicated search server express or something like that, you might want to have a dedicated search server. And that is also how you would add the search for an individual web application.